Ready?
Okay.
So Steve, how was your day one arrival to Pakistan? How was your flight to Pakistan?
All right, day one in
Like,
Pakistan.
let's start from Chattanooga because you thought it's a Chattanooga flight. How was all that
Oh, okay.
packing?
All right. The start of my trip back home in Chattanooga. Communication with Rehan's staff was, I think, a little confused. I've been waiting for days to get my flight information and waiting, and finally I got a call that, okay, Rehan said, are you ready to come? And I said, yeah, I told your staff that I'd be ready on Monday, but he hadn't told me what day. He was thinking another day. I had assumed that maybe the Monday flights weren't available. He picked, I think, Thursday for the flight. That wasn't the case, so he was directed to get me a flight on Monday, and then the communication was that I would be leaving from Chattanooga, Tennessee, flying down to Atlanta, from Atlanta out to Karachi. And I called and WhatsApped him a few times, and it still wasn't very clear communication, but he said, yes, I have your tickets, I'll email them to you. I waited an hour or 2 hours, no email, WhatsApped him back again, and he said, yeah, I've got the tickets, I'll send it to you. About an hour later, he sent them to me about 3 p.m. And he had told me that my flight out of Chattanooga was 10:45 p.m. So I was doing things at home to get ready and kind of take care of errands at home that I needed to take care of. And then I received the email, and it said, no, it didn't say I was leaving out of Chattanooga. It said I was leaving out of Atlanta. Atlanta from Chattanooga is normally about a 2-hour drive to the airport. With construction on I-75, it could take 3 to 4 hours typically. And on a Monday with rush hour and everything, so he said I needed to be flying out of Atlanta at 10:45. To fly out of Atlanta at 10:45, you need to be there at least 2 to 3 hours earlier to go through security and customs and baggage check. So that left me with about a half hour to get cleaned up, packed, and leave. He had no way to get a flight out of Chattanooga for me to meet up with the Atlanta flight. So I went over to the shuttle in Chattanooga. He said about a half hour to pack. My wife couldn't even be there to see me off, but and I ended up packing a lot less than I needed. I grabbed the wrong size coat, not enough pants, a few other things I left home. I grabbed the bare necessities. So it was pretty hectic until I left Chattanooga at about 6 p.m. I got the van shuttle down to Atlanta and arrived at Atlanta around 8 p.m. It was pretty good. It was the first time I went to the international terminal there. They had a good driver. He got through the traffic. So it was maybe 2.5 hours or so. I got inside, got through security, and I was ready to go. It was the night of the Clinton Trump debate. I got to see a little bit of that on one of the TVs there. I was hoping to watch a little bit more, but like I said, my first international flight out of Atlanta, I want to make sure I got to the gate. Got there, everything was nice. Got on the plane, it was actually a little early. Got on there, everybody got on. It was Turkish Airlines. I've never flown on Turkish Airlines before. It was very nice. The stewardesses greeted everybody with a nice smile. We got on, I got a good seat, window seat. I like either a window or an aisle, so I'm not stuck in the middle. And it was a nice window seat. I think it was a Boeing 777. Very nice aircraft. We got out, taxi, took off on time, very smooth takeoff, and the flight heading out, going to Istanbul, Turkey. I've never been to Istanbul, Turkey, but I was off to Istanbul, Turkey. Had a good flight. I rarely sleep on airplanes, but I try to make it good. It was very comfortable because there was nobody in the middle or the aisle seat, so I had a blanket and a pillow that they provided nicely. I was able to stretch out a little bit and at least close my eyes for a while, even though I really didn't sleep. The time difference between Chattanooga and Karachi is about 10 hours. Karachi is about 10 hours ahead of Chattanooga. So I was trying to prepare for that. I left at 10:45 p.m. Arrived on time in Istanbul. We had nice meals on board. They offered a lot of movies. I couldn't connect to Wi-Fi on there for some reason, but it was supposed to be free Wi-Fi, but maybe it was too slow for a connection.
On the plane?
On the plane, yeah. And I was, I guess, tired, but not tired enough to go to sleep, so I wasn't worried about it. I was reading one of my books that I brought with me, and that was enjoyable to have the time to read that. It was quite a long flight, but not uncomfortable. It was very comfortable. Again, the flight attendants were very nice and accommodating, and they brought a fresh hot towel for your face and hands before the meal. The meal was prepared hot. You had a choice of chicken, fish, or vegetable for dinner. It was a good-sized meal. I couldn't even finish it, and very tasty. I don't know, it was Mediterranean. I don't know what style, but it was tasty. I had the chicken to start out with. The movies that were playing, there were so many different movies, very recent movies too. I was surprised. Music, they had a big music selection. They had a screen on the back of the TV, or on the back of the seat, so you could watch that. I enjoy watching the progress of the flight, so looking at the altitude, looking on the map to see exactly where I was on or above Earth, and it was a lot of fun. I enjoy the flight. I usually enjoy flying. When I arrived in Karachi, or not in Karachi, in Istanbul, I was a little surprised that I went to find my next gate number, and the flight wasn't even on the screen for my departing flight number. So I got concerned, and I went to the information booth, and they said, oh, all the flights, they only display the flight information 1 to 2 hours, the gate information, 1 to 2 hours before the flight. So that was a new experience for me. Usually they know the gate number, or they display the gate number at least, even if it changes. To not have it known or displayed was a little unsettling, I gotta admit, because I had a 7-hour layover. So I had to find something to do for 7 hours. So I walked around quite a bit. I read some more of my book. I was surprised to see Popeye's fried chicken, and I think it was a Burger King in with all of the other restaurants, including some traditional Turkish restaurants, a lot of different things. I enjoy trying new foods and seeing new places, so I went for the traditional Turkish restaurant, had some soup and a chicken dish. It was delicious, and reasonably priced, especially for airport food. I think it was under $10. Enjoyable. And then again, more waiting. Finally, I got lucky, I guess, and 2 hours before the flight departure time, they displayed my gate on the big screen. So I went to that gate to wait there. About an hour before the departure time, they started making announcements that at a certain time, which is about 45 minutes before the departure time, they would begin boarding. I waited there and boarded quickly. They checked my passport, and I didn't have a visa with me, but I had had a letter requesting a visa upon arrival. The gate agent seemed a little concerned at first, but then he said that's okay. So as my first experience with a visa, I'd never used a visa for traveling before. Again, it was okay. Got on the plane. It was a Boeing 737, I believe, from Istanbul, Turkey to Karachi. Nice flight. Got to see the sunrise from, I think we're at about 25,000 feet when the sun finally came up. I wish I had a little better camera to try to capture it. It was beautiful. Going over a lot of the land, I could see on the map from the plane, it was a lot of desert. And then I looked at the countries, came to a realization that where I was just south of the Ukraine and near Syria and Iraq, and kind of going over portions of Iraq. I never thought I would be flying there. I guess I'm not an expert in geography, but it was really good. I didn't know what to expect as far as land terrain. I like seeing the terrain of the land, and there was a lot of desert. And coming into Karachi, over the Arabian Sea, I met a basketball player who was from the United States. Going over, he said he was traveling and going to do a year-long basketball season